All right, so the last time we had class, we were wrapping up our data excursion with our rainfall data, right? So we should have gotten through this part, right? Completing questions 7 and 8 on page 35. Should have, because when I checked them yesterday, they were pretty much all done. So.
You actually checked everything.
What else am I supposed to grade you on? Okay. So we ended the other day by seeing if we could notice the patterns in the data that could help support or contradict claims about the relationship between rainfall and wildebeest percentage occupancy for each region. So we need to come to a consensus of how to describe the patterns or relationships that we see in our graphs. And so looking at your guys' graphs that you submitted, should have had some stuff that looked like this, some graphs that looked like this, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Sure. Okay. So just take a minute there, looking at these graphs, and what patterns can we see with these graphs? Just silently to yourself right now. Okay, amongst your group, go ahead and discuss each of those graphs. What pattern are you seeing in this graph? What pattern are you seeing in this graph? What pattern are you seeing in this graph?
First. You're off. You're off. Those naughty things you're saying. So naughty things.
So looking at this slide quickly, These are some ways in which you can use to describe a relationship of data points on a graph. Okay, so this is strong. Both of these are strong because what?
They're close together.
They're close together. They kind of have a linear relationship with each other, right? Okay, so those would be considered strong versus weak, because these are pretty scattered data points, right? Okay, and then also we can talk about it in a positive way and in a negative way, and that's just kind of the shape of the slope. So this is, our slope is positive. Still positive here, not as easy to see that pattern, right? And then we have a negative slope here and here. Again, very easy to see this pattern. That just means that it's stronger evidence versus weaker evidence, okay? So when we look at these graphs, what are two ways we could describe this graph?
Linear, strong,
Strong and
positive.
positive, because it's going in this direction. And yeah, there's some scattering there, but for the most part, you can kind of see that pattern very well compared to this one especially, right? What are the ways we would describe this? Weak and negative. What about this one?
Scattered.
Weak and normal, neutral.
No idea how you would even describe that, because there's a lot of data that is on the zero line.
What is a scattered plot? It's that. That's a scattered plot. That's a scattered plot.
Okay, so now using that information, analyze these three, well, it's one graph, but it's showing it in those three different regions. Okay, so analyze that graph. Go ahead and discuss with your group what does it mean? What? Well, this here on the bottom, it's showing total annual rainfall, 500 millimeters to 1,400, and that's for each of the individual regions. Okay, and then this is the percent occupancy. So how much of, what percent of the wildebeest are occupying that area?
Yeah, but each like section.
And then also south is the middle. That one, this south has one in the north,
I think it's the plug-in.
whenever other west have wireless, they can get their find that pretty interesting.
So a few questions for you to think about. You might want to jot down the answers to these, probably like on the bottom of page 37. There should be plenty of space there for you guys to write. So jot down some information that you are seeing here. So what relationship are we seeing in the north? So we're just talking about this portion of the graph. What relationship are we seeing there between the total annual rainfall and wildebeest percent occupancy?
The more rain they get, the less.
You're just writing it down.
Oh, shoot.
And when you're done with that, you can write down what relationship you see for the south and what relationship you see in the west. how might you compare those relationships with each other? How does that north compare to the south to the west? So what can we say about the north? What patterns do we see? Negative pattern, isn't it? Because if we do a best fit line, it would look something like that. Okay. What about for the south? It would be positive, right? And for the west, I would say it's also negative. Okay. Which ones are strong and which ones are weak?
They're all weak.
You think?
Yeah.
What if we compare them to each other, though?
I'd say the north and the south are
I would
The
say
north
this
is
one
the
is
most
the
strong.
strongest, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and then
the
the
west.
west,
The west.
and then the north is
I think the north is the strongest.
I was thinking the west is.
What's your argument for that?
They're like all closest together. Like south has that one at the top, and that's like,
Kind of have this outlier, right?
yeah, this is outlier.
Like,
You're going up this turns.
so maybe not the strongest, but it is still strong, right?
That one is definitely strong.
And this one is strong, and this
That one's
one,
definitely-
That one's
stronger.
definitely weak.
we're just gonna say it's weaker. Because you have, for the most part, these points are pretty close. Couple of little outliers there. So these two are pretty strong, and that one's, it's still fairly strong, but maybe not quite as strong. So it can give us some good evidence. Which one has the highest occupancy, percent occupancy? The south. Does that make sense that it would have the highest occupancy? Because what's
Yeah.
this down here telling us?
There will be a lot of food.
Lot of rain, which equates
Food.
more food, okay? So it would make sense that this would be a positive slope because the more rain they get, the more food there is, the more wildebeest that would be present. But this is saying the opposite, right? This one and this one saying the opposite. More rain they get, yeah, maybe more food, but it's telling us that our wildebeest occupancy is decreasing as we increase our rainfall, right? So it could be different reasons for those other than just the food resources being available, right? Okay. Does that make a little more sense of what those graphs are actually telling us now? Hopefully. So where would we expect to find wildebeest when there's a lot of rain in an area?
South.
Probably the south. So then we might need to revise some of our responses for question number 7. So let's go back to question number 7. How about you guys use a different colored writing utensil to revise your answers?
You show me that. Ooh, this is a tough choice.
So, with your group, I want you guys to go through, look at your answers that you had already written there. So, when is there more annual rainfall in the south? The wildebeest spend more time there. When there is more annual rainfall in the west and the north, the wildebeest spend more time there, and the wildebeest spend more time in the north than any other region. Describe those patterns, or the lack of a pattern. Okay, whether it supports it or contradicts it. Going through those graphs we just did, do you need to add anything to them?
I don't
That's fine.
I see them. I really wanted to change it. Miss Kale,
What?
do you have trouble reading Jagger's handwriting?
Sometimes. But you're not the only one, Jagger.
Does this right here look like his name? Or like one of those? Like
Do you struggle with Aiden's?
Do you struggle with polls?
Carter? I think that was.
You probably struggled with like.
My handwriting's so good. It's just like sick. So slow.
Oh yeah.
And it's like this is what Aiden's like look every letter is
Yeah.
water.
I think rainbow is
I can write a very good
nice. I'm writing a letter.
What is your daughter something?
Okay. Go back to page 37. And just discuss these questions, jot down some notes there about those three graphs that we looked at, the one graph with the three different bits of information. Okay. What relationships did we see in the graph? So looking at the north, the south, and the west. And any other things that we might have seen with this data. What information can we pull from this graph? Okay, so write that down on page 37 with your notes about the graphs already. Well, okay, so what relationship are we seeing here? We're seeing that relationship between the total annual rainfall and the occupancy. But what other information can we infer from this based on everything that we've talked about so far? Which can include the grass, right? Because if we have a high amount of rainfall, we're making the assumption that there's gonna be a lot of grass because of that, right? Okay, so you can make assumptions about the food source. You can make assumptions about like where they are gonna be at or where should they be at during different times of the year. Looking at your one map that has the migration pattern on it, right? So what other information other than the fact that we have a positive relationship here when the rain is high, the wildebeest occupation is high, okay? And negative for our west and our north. High amount of rain, low amount of wildebeest occupancy, right? Okay, so then, again, you can make an inference or make a guess about why that might be, and it has to do with the food, right? Okay. What do we still need to figure out? What do we know about the South? Why is there so many wildebeest in the South? Why is the occupancy high there? Because where is it? Are there rivers there? Do we talk about them? What other things might we need to figure out yet?
I think water source is really
Okay, so could have to do with the water source. That could be something we still need to investigate is the water sources. We talked a little bit about predators already, right?
Did we talk about
The weather. I mean, the rain is kind of the weather. Because we've been talking about the rainy season versus the dry season, right? So when rainfall is high, okay, then we're having the rainy season. When rainfall is low, it's in the dry season.
Weren't there like locals that live there still? Like is there people there?
In only certain parts. In the actual Serengeti National Park, people aren't supposed to be living, right? But in different areas around the Serengeti National Park, they can live.
So maybe there's like more people there.
Maybe, possibly. So maybe look at human occupancy. Could play a role in where they are at. And humans also do what?
Kill 'em.
So hunting and poaching could be something we could look more into as well.